Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. It's no secret that Vermont is suffering from an opiate epidemic. Today, we have guests who are the face of that epidemic. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Scott.
Well, thank you for coming on because, this isn't something that a lot of people would want to do, basically come out to air your dirty laundry. But essentially, you really want people to help. You really want to help people.
Oh, definitely. And I think a lot of people around here don't really understand how big of a problem it is, and they really don't understand how it starts. And there's a lot of stigma around what the addict looks like, not just appearance, but everything that they're doing. And
now let's introduce yourselves.
I'm Mandy Gilbar.
And you're a local local woman, born and raised.
Yep, I grew up in Derby Line, and I've been around for a while.
And I'm Saxton. I've been here about only 7 years. I originally born in Russia, so I moved here about 7 years ago.
Right.
Yep.
And you have
Elena. She will be 2 in March.
Right. Do you think part of the reason you might be here is because of her? Because you probably don't want her to follow in your footsteps, too.
Oh, definitely.
That's the biggest reason.
She is the main reason. I was clean, obviously, throughout my pregnancy, but, there's a lot of stress in having your first child. And, if you don't have a lot of family around you to help, it's even more stressful, so.
And I... as we were saying before, I've known your mother for years before you even knew her.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you also come from a big family.
Yeah.
So tell me, I think the question a lot of viewers have, especially those of us who haven't walked on your side of the world, as in into the world of drugs, is there's so much attention to opiate addiction. How does one get involved with opiates now and not think you're going to get burned?
Well, I think that it took us quite a while. I remember when we first got together, we've been together for 5 years, mm-hmm. and I think this is the longest that we've ever been clean and in recovery. We used to drink a lot. I feel like one thing leads to the next. And if you hang around the wrong people, someone's apt to offer you something new that you've never tried. And, if you're someone that already abuses substances, whether it's alcohol, anything like that, you know what that feels like, and you get curious, I'll just try this once. And, you build a tolerance really, really fast.
So at what point, because I know you were also here, do you also want to talk about how much you like BART, which is, I'm not sure what the acronym stands for, on Union Street in Newport, which, to tell you the truth is, there's a lot of people who not involved with BART they have a negative view of it, but you have a very positive view of BART. Exactly.
I think that was our last step, is trying to go to BART. We didn't just figure that as our only option. We tried to go to a rehab. And I'll actually talk about what happened there. We went to sign in. We had Elena stay with someone for, I think it was maybe a week. And when we were in the sign-in process, they asked if we had children, and we said, yes, we have a child. So they proceeded to call DCF. And you know what I mean? Which I understand on one side, because sometimes when both parents are using it, leads to either neglect or anything like that. But, we weren't one of those cases. We made sure she was somewhere safe, and that was a really discouraging step for us. So we ended up, using still, and then we left, and then we tried staying in a hotel. We spent like $500 to stay 5 nights in a hotel, so we tried to do it cold turkey. Well, if we had had someone to watch her maybe 1 week extra, I think we would have felt great enough to be successful. But, 5 days wasn't enough. So we went to pick her up, and then, we couldn't do it. We just felt so horrible.
Screwed up again.
We messed up. We didn't have anyone really there to watch her. So, you can't get well if you have a child or responsibilities like that,
So the one thing that any of the addicts I've spoken to, because I've recently had a person on my radio show, and I've had another one on the TV show, is they talk about the horrors of withdrawal. What was withdrawal like for the two of you during those 5 days when you tried to do it yourselves?
Oh my gosh.
It's horrible.
I remember that we brought NyQuil with us, and
we just tried to sleep. We sleep through these 5 days, and it was hard. Then you wake up and you can't sleep anymore. You sleep for first 24 hours, and then after that, you can't even sleep anymore. I don't know. All I can say right now, after 2 weeks we left that motel. I went there after 2 weeks. We went there again, pretty much in the same room. I couldn't stay anymore because it's like nightmares. There's walls, everything, just memory, and I don't know. It just was. It's just worst thing ever. I can't even look back, and I don't want to go back there.
My last guest was saying it was like a demon was in you and trying to get out.
Yeah,
and
really.
That's the way she explained it. She said it was like the demon was trying to crawl out of your skin because she said it went to
so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. You feel you can't lay in one spot. It's just you try and lay down, calm yourself down. It's everything in your brains, and thoughts about feeling better, and your body just hurts. It hurts, and it's so bad. It's just the worst uncomfortable feelings. I never had it, from any other things than just have from withdrawal. It just I don't know how to explain it, but
we slept for 3 days straight.
I tried to sleep,
Yeah, I definitely did.
It's going really. It's worse than devil trying to get out from your skin. I think it's worse than that.
So how did you get to this point? As in, get to the point where you are going to have her stay in a safe place, and you're going to go cold turkey. Must be something got you to this place.
Definitely. When you're involved in, it's most drugs, but I think heroin being the top one. Most people who you're buying heroin from are addicts themselves trying to supplement their habit. Okay, so you can go and spend tons of money and then find out that this person who also needs the substance that they're selling has completely either, cut it with God knows what. So, you just spend $500 and now you have nothing and you're still sick. What are you supposed to do now? And that started happening a lot with us. And you definitely feel guilty. You have a child, you can use that money for so many different things. And we just were sick of looking. We were sick of having it in the house around her.
And
we were sick of friends stealing from us. We were just
sick of people being around us, and I just don't want to, every time I have to, in the morning, if I wake up, go change her, I have to get high first before I even go pick her up from a bed.
It's not even get high. You have to not be sick anymore.
Not to be sick, to feel normal, to get this energy to get up from a bed, to go, change her or start giving her breakfast. I have to have something. If I don't have something, she will be infected. So,
how did you get your drugs? Because as I said, I've interviewed other people, and they went about it different ways. You had your local suppliers. But then there's other people who said they actually went into the cities and actually hunted for it. But I guess there's more of that woman has been clean for 10 years. So, but she thinks today there's more of a network for local supply. Have you ever had to do anything that really...
Well, I don't want to open everything. I don't want to... just say we just have a supplier,
right.
And... that's where we got it all the time,
Right. So you didn't have to go into the city or anything?
Sometimes we did, but most of the time we didn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's always here.
That was like an emergency,
yeah,
maybe.
But we always had stuff here, and yeah, we had supplier pretty much.
Right.
So.
Did you ever have friends who died?
We had a friend who couldn't get clean, and he actually didn't die of an overdose. He committed suicide because he just couldn't take it anymore.
Right. Could you understand how that could happen?
Oh yeah, definitely. Not myself, but I definitely see how it could happen. I mean, Elena is our reason to live, so I wouldn't get to that point. I would definitely seek help first if I ever had thoughts or anything like that. But yeah, I think that the longer you stay in it, the bigger hole you dig for yourself.
Right. Now, how long were you both addicted?
I'd say probably a year, maybe a year and a half.
Straight year and a half, we was addicted to the heroin. Before that, it was on and off. You know, it's always, you know, fun. You know, we were just on and off. We wasn't too addicted. I don't know how to say. I mean, we kind of addicted. We like, you know, did it maybe a few times a week. You know, but straight probably a year and a half. We have to have every day something.
Did that when you started, when both of you started? Did you really ever think that you were going to be one of those weak people who became addicted?
No,
Never.
I was not brought up like that.
I tried. It's never going to happen to me. It's not me. Every time when I try, I'm going to get close to addiction, I'll just stop. But when I got close to addiction, when I started, my brains was so high at first. I wasn't even thinking about that. You know, I was so happy doing other, you know, things. I didn't even think about, oh, this thing can, you know, get me addicted and get me in trouble. I realized after, you know, I was doing for so long, when I already started getting in trouble, that, oh, I can't stop. When I need to stop, you know, for like my probation, you know, I can't do drugs, and when I can't really do urine tests clean, and I tried to not to do it, I couldn't, you know. I have to have something every day. That's when I realized I have a big problem.
I don't think there's really like a point of in between from getting addicted. I think that once you're to the point where you think, oh, I'm becoming addicted, you're already addicted. There is no in between. Once you cross that line, it's really hard to go back.
So what is your strategy? What is your strategy to stay in clean? I know Bart, is that every day you have to go?
Every single day.
Every day you need to be there by 11, not, you know, 11:01 or 11:02. You will not be allowed to get your medicine. So.
No, I know you have expressed some concern about the way people view Bart, that people just go there to have their fix, to get their artificial high.
Yeah.
What's your statement about that?
Well, actually, it's funny that we talked about that. Someone commented on Facebook. We were talking about, you know, noisiness in apartments, and they stated, you know, I've got 3 people in my building that wake up at 5:30 every day to go get their fix. And when I asked, you know, what fix? And they said, oh, well, the methadone clinic. Okay, you know, it's kind of offensive because, first of all, when you go there, you're taking an opioid antagonist, which, you know, like Suboxone is a partial one. You're taking that every day. It doesn't get you high. It prevents cravings, and it covers the same dopamine receptors that the heroin would. You know, if you try using on it, you immediately start withdrawing, you know, depending on the dose that you're on, but especially methadone. That's why methadone works so well, you know, at blocking the cravings and withdrawal. I mean, these people just want to lead a normal life. That's why they go there. Would you rather have a bunch of people, you know, selling and buying drugs in the building, or, you know, possibly overdosing? I mean, it's just the pros outweigh the cons there.
Now you've been at this almost a year. Do you still get cravings?
No, I don't. I think that the thing that bothers me the most is occasionally I'll have dreams and they feel really real. And most of my dreams now consist of either using or buying or seeing something. But no, not really.
I do only when, I don't know, sometimes people, you know, I still have friends who, you know, using or who talking, you know, in my life. Sometimes when people around me and or talking about something, you know, my cravings kind of level get higher, you know. I do want to use sometimes. Sometimes it's like when I have a really bad day, you know, like I'm getting angry sometimes or something really stresses me out. I do have cravings, but it's kind of easy for me to control now, you know. Those kind of cravings, you know, I can say pretty easy to, not pretty easy, but I can say no to it, you know.
Do you have to distance yourself from your friends who use, like, do you have to, like, not hang out with them as much?
Oh yeah,
yes.
I would say we have only a couple friends now because of it. You know, and we tried reaching out to some of them who are using and showed a little bit of interest in getting clean. And, you know, we always tell everyone, you know, we'll guide you if you have any questions or anything.
Help you, yeah, and everything.
You know, because we're definitely in a better place now.
And we try to explain it's really hard for us to be around, you know, if they're using around them. And, you know, some people understood, you know, just they don't talk to us anymore at all. Some people just, you know, think, oh, I don't know, we are better now or something. I don't know. We just don't talk to them. You know, they I guess they don't want to help from us, you know, and they just want to keep using, you know.
Could anybody have forced you, both of you, to get help though, or did you have to come to this point yourselves?
We came to this point ourselves.
We kind of came to this point ourselves, and. Me, a little bit, I mean, I kind of came to this, but my probation, I still have to, you know, they pushed me kind of to get clean, you know, to get to the bar, because I couldn't, you know, I couldn't using drugs being on it, so I have to, you know, do something. So I was all the time peace duty, and they kind of like, they suggest me go to the bar, you know, they just recommend me that stuff like that. To get in there, but there's more. We want to do it ourselves. You know, we want to get clean.
Like I know I recently,
go in the back.
as I said, I recently had another person on my radio show, and I was really amazed when I posted on my Facebook that she was coming on, and there were people, you know, there was like 99.9% of the people that were so supportive of her. They were just like, wow. But there were another group who, her former acquaintances, they wished her nothing but ill will. It was astounding.
Wow.
But you probably don't really care what people think.
No, not at all. And you know, we used to feel worried when we started going to bar, like, oh, what if someone sees our vehicle there, or you know, this and that. And I can tell you that. All kinds of people go to BART, you know, all kinds of different people that in a lot of people's eyes, you know, they'd be really surprised that go there, you know, at all age groups. So I just really stopped caring because, you know, when you look at someone who's in recovery, you know, that person is really, really strong, you know.
So when you, all right, so on your typical day, when you have to go to bar, what does that look like? Do you just walk in and no questions asked, or what happens?
No, actually, we usually leave kind of at last minute because we like to sleep and we have to get Alina ready. But
we just go in, and you have to have special ID now this time. So you're going in, and they just checking you on a computer, and you waiting your turn. Then you go in this little room, and just showing your ID, you're getting your dose, and you're leaving.
So is it liquid?
For methadone, it's a liquid, and so you can just take your dose and leave right away. For Saxton, it's a little strip you pour it under your tongue, and you just have to wait there 5 minutes before you can leave.
Yes.
Until it dissolves.
Like,
no, go on.
Oh, I'm sorry. When you go in the room, the nurse hands it to you and like makes sure that you drink it.
Drink it. You
so
don't
like
sneak
people who are always like, oh, people just go there and then they want to sell it. It's close to impossible to do that.
Just
Someone makes sure, like when I put the Suboxone under my tongue, you have to show it to the nurse out there, and then they watch you, and then after 5 minutes you show that it's all dissolved under there. So.
Now, tell me, since you want to dispel some of the myths, this is one of the things I've heard, is that some people do game the system. That's what I've been told is, and they were saying one way that people can do it is by exaggerating their previous drug use, so they up the dose of methadone, so the methadone actually gets you high. Is there any truth behind that? Can you get high off of methadone?
No.
No.
Maybe, a lot of people go and lie on them, oh, I'm still sick, I need a bigger dose, they get in the dose, but the nurses, they can see if you really need a bigger dose, you can't really lie, they check a lot of symptoms, you really can't lie, but you can't lie that, oh, I need a bigger dose, but when they're giving you bigger dose, say you got, you're not going to get high, you might will feel a little bit different first day. But you're getting used to it. Tomorrow, next day, you will be the same. You're just getting used to it. Your metabolism gets so high, it doesn't matter. Today, say you take 30 milligram and tomorrow 100, you maybe will get you're not going to get high, but you'll feel a little bit, maybe a little bit high something. But on third day, when you're going to take that milligram, you're not going to get high.
Right. So what happens if you want to go to Florida? You go away for a week. How do you get your methadone, or can you leave the area?
Well, if there's steps that give you take-home privileges, we aren't really there yet, but if you give a 2-week notice, you can probably get maybe 1 or 2. I don't know.
If you're going, depends where you're going, and you can take home. You can request. You have to give 2 weeks before notice. You can request home. You can get up to 3-4, doses days. And I used to go Connecticut and I request my dose from there. As long you do 2 weeks notice before you're going. So what they do, they check the address where you're going and they look in any bars in there. If there are any around it, so they call them and set up so you can go right in that area. If there's no places like that, they will give you take home.
And you have to have a lockbox to take it off the property. So
now there is a segment of society that says you've made your bed, lie in it. You shouldn't be getting any of this. What is your response? You've probably heard this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, I used to be like that too. I never looked at addiction as a disease. It is very much a disease. People don't understand, when you're taking these opiates, you're rewiring your brain. So many things change, and you wouldn't wish someone with a terminal illness, oh, too bad for you, you have cancer, deal with it. No, nobody asks for this. People ask for help, but they don't ask to be criticized and shunned because of it.
What do you have to say to people who might be watching this, who have never tried to, heroin or to misuse opiates, and they might think, well, geez, I might want to try it. Do you have any advice to somebody who thinks that misusing opiates might be a fun idea?
No, don't try.
Don't do it. It's not fun. It will be
fun for a little while, but after you try once, you already know what feelings it is. Even if you once, then later in the road, you're always going to look back, and you always, in your brains, you're going to think, I do want to try it again someday, sometimes. When you already know how good it is, how, it doesn't fix your problems, but it's, if you anger something, it just feels that good, already how it feels, it's great. So after you try once, you always going to look to those days.
Did your addiction ever get you in trouble with the law?
Me? Yes.
Possibly.
It's kind of I got in trouble, but I was in probation. My addiction, I violate my probation many times because of my addiction,
Right.
Pretty much I violate a lot too,
Now, we've talked about the impact addiction had on you. What effect did it have on your family? as in, like, you know, as I said, I've known your mother, I've known your grandparents. Needless to say, you're from Connecticut via Russia. I don't know your family, but what impact did it have on your families?
Honestly, I wasn't the one who told my mom. Somebody else did, and you know, she was really hurt. But
she was supportive after.
She was really supportive.
Yeah. My family, well, they just ignore everything. You know, they just pretend like nothing happened. You know, they know my addiction. They know everything. Every time when they come visit me, we never talk about it. You know, they never ask me questions. They just ignore it. They just pretend like never happened.
They did help when they watched it.
Yeah, they really help us to watch our daughter, but I feel like they don't want to be part of that. You know, they like think it's my life and my problem and I should fix it up.
They're really judgmental about it, so you can tell that. But.
So, but addiction is a family issue.
Oh, definitely. You know, especially when people get to the point where, you know, if the person's giving them money and then they find out, well, that's what it's going to. I mean, you know, you've got trust issues. It creates a lot of problems. I mean, in my case, I'm really close to my mom, Lynn. So, I mean, she was really helpful, but nobody knew. Nobody knew about this. We've gone so long without even telling anyone that you wouldn't be able to tell, and that's part of the reason why.
I was worried people gonna know and think about, you know, addiction. It was scary to tell everybody, you know.
Right. So, people have a vision of what non-users have a vision of what an addict looks like. You're not two of those people. Do you think people really know what an addict looks like, or do they all look different?
They all
look different, you know.
Some people, they're addicts and they still take care of themselves. Some people, they're addicts and they can look like an addict, but you really can't tell, especially around this area. You can't tell who not. There's a lot of people. There's like 60% maybe people who using drugs, and they go to work and they're on drugs. Even right now, people just can't tell they are on. You know, I don't know how to. I guess whatever, but. I don't know how to explain this, but I don't think people know how really an addict looks.
Yeah, I mean, when some people hear the word heroin, even when you just say it, they picture somebody like
really
with a needle up their arm, like laying out, passed out, and it, you know, to get to that point, I don't know, not that many people get to that point. Mm-hmm. You know, not that many people even are IV users. Like, we were not IV users. We never did that. You know, some people, you know, take it other ways, so you really can't.
Can I ask an incredibly stupid question?
Sure.
I have no idea. How does, I think of IV heroin use.
Right.
How do you use it?
You can snort it, just like powder, just like someone would snort cocaine in their nose, or you can smoke it on tinfoil.
Well, that would make sense, because my last guest said that because she was saying the same thing, is people are cutting so much into it, and some of it's deadly, like fentanyl.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, she was talking about how disappointed she was in herself when she bought cake mix. You know, somebody had duped her, and you're not going to go to the police and say, hey, my heroin was cake mix.
Right, exactly.
That happens a lot, every time. You know, there's somebody get cake mix, there's somebody get
we got
makeup,
ramen noodle powder.
You know, you can get anything, but that's like who you buying. You know, if you're buying from a person who using, they trying to, you know, get high themselves. You know, they're trying to get those for themselves, so that's why they're going and screwed other people to get high themselves. You know?
Okay, we're about ready to wrap up, but again, back to Bart. What does Bart mean to you then? Did Bart change your life?
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Bart did, and it's not. Bart did change. They help us to change our life a lot. You know, I really like about Bart because they have counseling stuff, and they really make a plan for you. You know, you making plan with them for you. You know, like how it's called.
I can't remember.
It's
I don't know, just a recovery plan.
Recovery
basically.
plan. You know, they helping you. You know, to goals. You know, help you make your goals and everything. But not just fix you. You have to work yourself too. You know, it's maybe 50% help you not to be sick, you know, help you not to be withdrawal. But at the same time, you still gonna have to work, and you have to say, I really don't want to use no more. You know, I really don't want to go back there. You know.
Do you hope to someday not have to be making that trip to BART though, where you can?
Oh yeah,
I'm thinking about it every day.
And that's something that when people go into it, you know, you need to think about how long you want to be in it for. You need to, you know, commit to being there every day, or it's not going to work for you. You know, we only wanted to be there probably 6 months, and it'll be a year in May, but it takes time.
It takes a long time. It takes years and years to really, you know, rewire your brains back to normal, you know, to start feeling normal again, because, you know, drugs we did for a year and a half, it screwed up our brains so bad that it takes years. It's
and
take 2 or 3 years.
The good part is while you're taking methadone and Suboxone, your brain is still able to heal from all the opiate abuse.
Damage of the opiate.
Which is really important.
Right. Sometime along I should have some of the people from BART come on the show, because the reason I've invited people like you on is it's so funny that we often talk about the heroin addiction or the opiate addiction, but we very seldom go to the people and to explain. So do you think you're clean for good?
Yes,
I hope to be. You know, you can never predict the future. Like, we never thought we'd be here today, so I don't like to, you know, jump the gun or say that a time may not happen, you know. So it's the whole one day at a time thing. You know, you really need to stay focused and have good people around you. I think the people, it's the most important part.
How do we end? How do we end this addiction, or can we? Or how do we at least bend the curve?
We can end. You're gonna have to watch over your shoulder the rest of your life. You know, it's gonna follow you all. You just have to fight.
But
with
society, how do we, as a society, try to make us not produce so many addicts? You know, is society doing something wrong?
I think that if more people were aware of just how many people are addicts, you know, like I said, if you look at it as an illness and not something negative, like the kits that can save lives, you know, those are at BART for free. You hear about people on the side of the road passed out or overdosed.
Narcan?
Yeah, the Narcan kits. If more people knew about those, or maybe if they were kept at workplaces or something, even one. I mean, there's just so many things that could be done just to be more supportive and not so critical.
You know, personally, I would like to see people like you going into the schools, because no disrespect to law enforcement going into the schools talking about the evils of it, and there's a place for that, but I think particularly in high schools, I think people like you have a story to tell, because you put a face to addiction. And, you know, addiction, you know, as you know, isn't a pretty face.
No, it's really not.
Right.
And you're not going to know about it until you go through it. But it's easy for us to talk to, you know, younger people about it, you know, because we've been there. We've gone through the same types of stresses, and there's just a lot of alternative things that you can do. But
okay, what do you hope for your daughter here?
Oh, we have so many hopes for her. She'll be 2 in March, and I don't know, we have a lot of long-term goals, like school-wise and, you know, where we want to be. We might move somewhere warmer, but...
we want her so much. She's grew up, not around, I mean, I don't have nothing against this area, but I want she has something, you know, to do, more stuff to do. You know, we want to move some areas where she, you know, have more, you know, friends, you know, more people, where people are you know, stuff more to do for the kids, because for age like her, it's nothing around here to do, you know, like at all. I have no place to take her, you know. There's only one place we had. It's what is it called?
Kinder Music.
Kinder Music, and it was a great place, but I don't know. Should say not, but it's just too pricey. You know, it's too pricey for her.
How are you gonna talk to her someday about You know, she's not going to remember being on this show, but are you going to talk to her when she gets older about your journeys that you took?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, you know, if you're honest with your kids, then they're going to be honest with you. If you, I don't know, it's just like the relationship I have with my mom. I can tell her anything, and she tells me anything and everything, and I feel like that definitely worked for us, so I want to be like that with Elena.
Hey, it was really great having you on, but I'm going to give you both final words to the viewers, particularly to people who are considering using or who are at the beginning stages of using.
Well, I know that there's a lot of people out there who have opiate addiction or heroin or anything like that. My advice to you would be, if an inpatient rehab is possible, seek one out. I don't know, I actually have a group on Facebook called NEK Recovery and Support. I've had a lot of people come to me asking about how to go into BART, you know, how to, you know, go about doing different things. So feel free to join the group and be with a lot of people who are in recovery.
Now, what is the address for that group?
It's on Facebook, and you just type in NEK Recovery and Support, and my page will pop up, and you can request to join, and I will approve you.
And my suggestion is just ask for help. Don't try to do on your own, because it won't work. It's just don't be scared to tell people and ask for help. And there's so many places and so many people that will help you with no problem.
Okay. Hey, thanks for coming on, because I really do think stories like yours are going to help. There's going to be somebody listening to the show that is going to help. I suspect there's going to be quite the number of people, because people are going to be curious about watching this show. And there's going to be some of your former friends might even watch it for what you have to say, and some of them are going to scoff at you. Others of them are going to, it's going to plant the seed. And I think I commend both of you, because I think it does take guts, because you're showing that you're very vulnerable people. You made a mistake, and you're telling people about it in a big way, and I commend both of you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.